everyone, my name is NAJWA binti YUSRI. My matching number is A21033393. Data description. Business statistics use data analysis tools from elementary statistics to business. It classified into two types, which is measure of center tendency and measure of variability. The dataset presented is a representative sample of 400 infant car seats. The data contain 9 variables like sales, comprise, income, advertising, population, price, shelf lot, age, and urban.
Okay. Hi, my name is Auni binti ZULKEFLI and my matrix number is A210320. Okay, for my part, I would like to present sampling data and record categorical data. Sampling data and record categorical data. First, sampling data is a process of selecting samples. The practice of analysis a subset of all data in under cover the meaningful information in the large data sets. Second, probability-based sampling may be used guarantee that no correlations exist between the points selected for the sample by adding random numbers to the point in the data collections. Third, sampling may also be non-profitability based, in which case the analysis judgment is used to choose and extract a sample of data. They have two types of data. First, categorical variable and second, numerical variable. For categorical variable has urban and the numerical variable has sales, comprise, and income. The data that changed into the numerical data that we had selected 150 observations from 400 observations using data sets that has been provided. Okay, after we use the SPS to calculate the categorical, first that shows the sales. Okay, the second is the comprise, the third is the income, and last urban.
Hi, my name is AIMUNI binti ABDUL, matric number 81A3399. I want to present about numerical descriptive measure. Group data. Measure of central tendency, which is mean, median, and mode. For mean formula is x equal to equation of x divided by n, which is sample. For median, we have their formula is x equal to n plus 1 divided by 2. Mode is a frequency of the data. Next, measure of position. First is quarter 1. Formula for quarter 1 is n plus 1 divided by 4. For quarter 3, the formula is 3 multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 4. Measure of variation for ungroup data is first range. Formula range is maximum data entry minus by minimum data entry. Next, variance. Formula for variance is 1 divided by n minus 1 multiplied to sum of x square minus by sum of x square divided by n. Next of measure of variation is standard deviation. Formula for standard deviation is square root of s square, which is variance. Group data for sales. Mean equal to 7.426, median equal to 7.3523, mode for sale is 7.2608, quarter 1 for sale is 5.9825, while for quarter 3 is 14.7470. Range for sale is 14.7470 minus to 5.9825, and the range is for 8.7645. Sample variation for sale is 8.9378, and standard deviation is square root to sample variation is 2.9896. Next, group data for comprise. Mean for comprise is 123.22, while median is 125.7766. Mode for comprise is 115.323234. Quarter 1 for comprise is 116.9615, while quarter 3 is 143.2660. Interquarter range is quarter 3 minus 2 quarter 1, and the result is 226.3045. Sample variation for comprise is 258.8083. And lastly, standard deviation for comprise is 16.087. Last but not least, group data for income. Mean for income is 72.0067, while for median is 96.4231. Mode for income is 73.9545. Quarter 1 for income is 47.50, while quarter 3 is 140.9583. Interquarter range for this income is 140.9583 minus 247.50, and the result is 93.4583. Sample variation for income is 753.8157. And lastly, for this for this numerical descriptive measure, is standard deviation for income is square root to sample variation, and the answer is 27.4557. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Mohamad metric number A218257. Today I want to talk about 4.0 graphical representation. The use of intuitive chart to visualize and simplify data set is referred to as graphic representation. I have used two graphical representation, which is first is histogram. Histogram is a bar graph that describes the frequency distribution of a data set. There are several ways to creating a histogram graph. The first step is to quantitative horizontal or x-axis scale that measure the data value at either class midpoint, while the vertical or y-axis measure the class frequency or percentage. From the data that we get, we can use the frequency and the midpoint to make a histogram graph. This is a histogram graph that been created. Second type of graphical representation is ogive graph. The ogive is defined as the frequency distribution graph or a series. The ogive is a graph of a cumulative distribution which explains data values on the horizontal plane axis and either the cumulative relative frequency, the cumulative frequency, or cumulative percent frequency on the vertical axis. Cumulative frequency is defined as the sum of all previous frequency up to current point. To find the popularity of the given data or the likelihood of the data that fall within a certain frequency range, the ogive curve help in finding those details accurately. Ogive can be created by plotting the point corresponding to the cumulative frequency of each class vertical. Most statisticians use the ogive curve to illustrate the data in the pictorial representation. It helps in estimating the number of observations which are less than or equal to the particular value. This is ogive graph that been created using a frequency and midpoint. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is binti AHMAD KAMIL. Matrix number E21034551. 5.0 Statistical Analysis using SPSS. 5.1 Comparison between numerical descriptive measure manual versus SPSS. First, measure of central tendencies. Sales, comprise, and income. The data of mean, median, and mode between manual ways and SPSS software shows the different result because the SPSS cannot read the data accurately. All the data used above is already recorded. The second is measure of position. Also, sales, comprise, and income. The data of quartile 1, quartile 3, and interquartile range between manual ways and SPSS software shows the different result because the SPSS cannot read the data accurately. All the data used above is already recorded. The third is measure of variation, also sales, comprise, and income. The result of SPSS for data simple variance and standard deviation is not the same as manual because the SPSS cannot read the data accurately. This is the comparison between graph manual versus SPSS for comprise using histogram graph. The next one is comparison graph for income using OGIF graph. The drawing graph is using group data and it is plotted with an x-axis and y-axis. The x-axis represents the midpoint of the class interval and the y-axis represents of the frequency of the data. Then the graph of SPSS is using ungrouped data. The x-axis and y-axis is the same as the drawn graph. The both graph shape of the distribution is bell shape. 5.2 Hypothesis testing. So this is the table of one sample test. There are various categories under a field such as sales, comprise, and income. The DF for all the categories remain unchanged at 149. The test for sales group is 34.048. The test for comprise group is 40.136. And the test for income group is 25.981. 5.3 Correlation analysis. So this is the correlation analysis. The correlation is a statistical technique used to determine the degree to which two variables are related. From the table, the Pearson correlation is 0.076. So the strength of the relationship between sales and comprise are moderated. Also, the Pearson correlation is 0.253. So the strength of the relationship between sales and income are moderated. 5.4 Confidence interval. The 95% confidence interval for a mean for lower bound and upper bound can be related to this analysis. The mean for the sales is 7.4470. The lower bound is 6.9696 and upper bound is 7.9244. The difference between the lower and upper is minus 0.4772. The mean for the comprise is 123.20. The lower bound is 120.61 and the upper bound is 125.79. The difference between the lower and upper is negative 5.18. The mean for the income is 72.15. The lower bound is 67.74 and the upper bound is 76.55. The difference between the lower and upper is minus 8.81. 5.5 Prediction modeling. So this is the table for model summary and the ANOVA. According to the table of model summary, the R square value is 0.086, which means 8.6% of the variation in sales can be explained by income and comprise. According to the table of ANOVA, the p-value from the ANOVA table is less than 0.001, which means that at least one of the three variables, which is income and comprise, can be used to model sales. So this is the coefficients. The total of the equation of sale is 3.116. Last but not least, in the scatter plot matrix, graph 1 plots sales against comprise. There is a moderate positive correlation between sales against comprise. Graph 2 plots comprise against income. It is since that the higher income, there is a moderate positive correlation between comprise against income. Graph 3 plots sales and income. there is a weak positive correlation between sales against income.
Conclusion. We were given set of data on car seats in 400 different stores. In order to determine the number of classes, interval or width, class limits, relative frequency distribution, and cumulative frequency distribution for a given data set, we utilize a frequency distribution. Last but not least, we also use measure of central tendency for ungrouped and grouped data such as mean, mode, and median for numerical descriptive measure.